There's this machine in your house. It's probably the most powerful, most expensive, and most critical system you own. But let's be honest, most of us never think about it. That is, until it breaks. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and really demystify your HVAC system. The thing that keeps you comfortable all year long. Okay, let's talk about something we've all been through. Why does it feel like your air conditioner has a personal vendetta against you, choosing to die on the single hottest day of the year? I mean, it feels like a conspiracy, right? Just as that heat wave hits its peak, boom, your AC gives up. It's so frustrating. But here's the thing, it's not random. There are very real reasons this happens, and we're about to get into why that timing is no coincidence at all. So, the secret to why your system suddenly gives up the ghost? Well, it's actually hiding in plain sight, right outside your front door. See, it's not always just about how old the system is or what brand you bought. It's about this constant, invisible battle that your HVAC is fighting against your local environment every single day. I mean, just think about the absolute assault your system has to put up with. If you live somewhere humid, your AC is working double time. It's not just cooling the air, it's also ripping tons of moisture out of it. Then winter comes, and you get these wild temperature swings that creates freeze-thaw cycles that can literally crack plastic and metal parts. We haven't even talked about older, drafty homes that make the system run constantly, or even shifting soil that can pull your ductwork apart. It all adds up to a system that is under constant, extreme stress. So, have you ever heard your AC or your furnace just kicking on, running for a few minutes, and then shutting right back off? And then it does it again and again. That little quirk has a name. It's called short cycling. And while it might just seem kind of annoying, it's actually a massive distress signal. Your system is screaming for help. It's working its tail off, but accomplishing absolutely nothing. And it's a warning sign you really, really shouldn't ignore. Yeah, and this isn't just about a high energy bill. When it comes to your furnace, short cycling can point to something way more dangerous. We're talking about a cracked heat exchanger. Now, that crack can become a direct pipeline for carbon monoxide, which is deadly, colorless, and odorless, to leak right into your house. This is a huge safety risk, no joke. All right, so the worst has happened. Your system is down for the count. And now you're facing that huge, expensive question. Do I just pay to patch this thing up, or is it finally time to bite the bullet and replace the whole shebang? It's a massive financial decision, I get it. But believe it or not, there are some pretty simple ways to think about it clearly. Okay, let's break down the trade-offs because they're actually pretty straightforward. On one hand, you've got the repair. It's cheaper upfront and it gets your heat or AC back on quickly. The downside, you're still stuck with an old, inefficient system that could easily break down again next month. On the other hand, there's replacement. It's a big investment, no doubt. But what you're buying is a brand new warranty, way better energy efficiency, and peace of mind for years to come. So, how in the world do you make that call? Well, people in the industry have this great little rule of thumb they use. It's called the $5,000 rule, and it's just a simple piece of math that can cut right through all the confusion and give you a surprisingly clear answer. Okay, check this out. This is how it works. Let's say your air conditioner is, 15 years old, and the repair guy says it's going to cost you $400 to fix. So you just multiply the age, 15, by the repair cost, 400. That gives you 6,000. Well, since that number's over 5,000, the rule is basically telling you, hey, you're probably better off putting that $400 towards a brand new reliable system. It's a really powerful little tool to stop you from just, throwing good money after bad. All right, so whether you decide to repair or replace, you're going to have to call a pro. And that brings up the next big question. How do you know you're getting a real expert and not just some high-pressure salesperson in a uniform? Let's break down the playbook for what a good service call should actually look and feel like. And, let's just be real for a second. This is why so many of us dread making that call. We're afraid we're going to get taken for a ride, or get confused by a bunch of technical jargon, or get pressured into buying something we don't actually need. But I'm telling you, it doesn't have to be like that. See, a true professional operates on a whole different level. When you call, a real person answers the phone, especially in an emergency. They give you a specific arrival window, not that vague, we'll be there sometime between 8 and 5. They'll explain the problem in plain English, give you the total price before they even pick up a tool, and this part is so important. They should physically show you the broken part. It's all about transparency. Now, if you are getting a new system, here's a term you need to listen for. Manual J load calculation. This isn't just a fancy phrase. It means they're not just guessing or slapping in the same size unit you had before. It's a real scientific analysis of your home, your square footage, your windows, your insulation, even how leaky it is, to figure out the exact right size system you need. And trust me, Getting the size right is absolutely critical. It's not negotiable. If a contractor just shrugs and says, oh, we'll just put in the same size you had without doing that load calculation, that's a huge red flag. Why? Because a system that's too big will short cycle constantly and leave your house feeling all damp and clammy. And one that's too small will just run itself into an early grave trying to keep up. So we've spent all this time talking about breakdowns and what to do when things go wrong. But you want to know the single biggest secret from the insiders? The absolute best way to handle an HVAC emergency is to make sure it never happens to begin with.
Okay, look at this number, 40%. Just let that sink in for a second. What on earth could that be? Well, it represents a staggering amount of money and energy being wasted in so many of our homes, and most of us have no idea it's even happening.
That's right. In a lot of homes, especially older ones, up to 40%, 40 of the heated or cooled air that you are paying good money for is leaking out of your ductwork and just dumping into your attic or your crawl space. It never even gets to your rooms. It is literally like trying to fill a bucket that has a giant hole in the bottom. And here's the hard truth. Those big, catastrophic system failures, they almost never just happen out of the blue. They're the end result of a bunch of small, fixable problems that were just ignored. You know, a small problem grows into a medium problem, which then turns into an, oh no, my whole system is dead problem. That little failing part becomes a destroyed compressor. That tiny little leak becomes a total system meltdown. So this is what prevention actually looks like. An annual tune-up isn't just some guy showing up and glancing at your unit. A good technician is going to clean the coils so the system can actually breathe. They're going to check the refrigerant levels to stop a small leak from killing your expensive compressor. They're going to inspect the heat exchanger for those dangerous cracks we talked about, and they'll test the electrical components that always seem to fail on the hottest or coldest day of the year. So, what's the big takeaway here? It's pretty simple, actually. When you understand how this whole system works, why it fails, what to look for, and how to maintain it, it completely shifts the power dynamic. The power is back in your hands. You're no longer just a victim of a broken machine. You're an informed homeowner who can make smart, cost-effective decisions and save yourself a ton of money and stress. And that really leaves us with just one last question for you to think about. You get oil changes for your car to protect the engine, right? You go for checkups to protect your health. So are you giving your home's single most expensive and important system the same kind of basic, essential attention it deserves?